3, 2.
What's up, ladies and gentlemen? Welcome into That Wrestling Show here on Nesson's Facebook Live page. As you can see, I am not joined by Mike Wendt because Mike Wendt is on vacation down the Cape. But we've Skyped him in all the way from the Cape. How you doing, Mike?
I'm doing great. I mean, we never stop working here. Even on vacation, we're doing a show for you. That's what we do on That Wrestling Show.
You know what? It's the power of technology. We're miles and miles away, but it feels like you're right in my ear.
Modern technology.
It's amazing.
Gotta love it.
It's amazing. So we're here to preview WWE Battleground that will be Sunday night on the WWE Network. I don't know if they do pay-per-views anymore, but if you don't have the WWE Network and you want to watch this pay-per-view and you're going to pay $50 for this pay-per-view, kind of an idiot. So
I don't know if they've come up with a new term yet. I think that's why they keep calling them pay-per-views, because they just haven't found a better term yet. I know special event has been used once in a while, but even that's
that
not
feels
like
very stupid.
That's not special to me.
Yeah, no, it feels very, very stupid. So let's dive right in.
Why
first
not?
of all, how is everything down the Cape?
Fantastic. It's beautiful out here. Went to the beach yesterday, did some clamming.
Ooh.
Got a whole big New England clam bake, shucked some oysters. I'm being a true New Englander down on the Cape. It's fantastic.
Were you wearing capri pants?
No. Unfortunately, I'm tall, so any type of short pants become very short pants. It's kind of like Larry Bird in the 80s type of shorts.
That's unfortunate, and I'm glad I
5
missed it.
feet of leg.
Yeah, I could imagine. So let's just jump right in here to the card at Battleground. We have Aiden English taking on Ty Dillinger in
I believe it's the pre-show.
In the pre-show.
In the pre-show. It's going to be basically a 10 pre-show.
Yeah. This might be the
feeling.
best pre-show match ever because it's going to be a certified 10.
Absolute certified 10.
I am shocked as to what they've done with Aiden English since splitting up the Vaudevillains. I think that he's just been a blatant shot at Mauro Ranallo, having him being this
I've heard
highly...
that. I don't know.
Yeah.
I like what they're doing. I mean, they're trying something. I thought it was kind of funny when he walked in on Breezango, or they kind of opened up a closet and he was doing his vocal warm-ups.
Right.
So, I mean, I think they're doing something a little different, and he hasn't cried in weeks, which is nice.
Right. It's good because before Simon Gotch came along in NXT, Aiden English was very fun playing this like Broadway diva where he would sing and, talk about how great of an actor he was. So I'm glad that they kind of got back to that because I did think that the Aiden English character did have legs. Now, I loved the Vaudevillains, and I think that it's very sad that Simon Gotch had to, basically get the boot. But I do think that there is talent with Aiden English, so, I'm glad that they're giving it a go with him, even if it is a person that kind of appears on the, the pre-show, kind of toiling around the mid-card, but at least he has something to do. And then Ty Dillinger, I think Ty Dillinger is a ton of fun. I think that he's very much like Zack Ryder was during his Internet Championship reign, where he's going to have a lot of support from the fans. The fans really like him, but I don't think anything is really going to kind of come of this except for maybe like a novelty U.S. title run after the kind of the big players are done with it.
So you're saying, hot take, WWE fans like to chant stuff.
Yeah. The chants are more over than the people.
Gotcha.
I don't think anybody actually understands why they hate Roman Reigns anymore. They just like to boo Roman Reigns.
It's just cool to boo.
It's cool to boo Roman Reigns, so we boo Roman Reigns. When
exactly.
I don't think that I don't think that he warrants that. But this is a SmackDown show.
It is.
We're not going to talk about Roman Reigns.
I like that you wore the blue. I went with kind of a salmon color for where I'm setting at.
Yeah, but you should also be like drinking mimosas on the veranda or something.
Well, it's morning.
Oh, it's morning.
Bloody Mary.
Bloody Mary, you're right. So next up, we have Breezango versus the question mark.
Who has been trashing the Breezango office? I'm going with the 1982 Denver Broncos.
Ooh, you know what? I was going to go with the 1999 Oakland Raiders.
Okay. So we're thinking a football team's going to show up and take on Breezango.
Yeah.
Basically.
I don't know. This is going to be very, very sad for me. I love Breezango. Tyler Breeze is doing some of the best work of his career right now. With the like master of disguise sort of situation he's got going on.
Both of them are.
They're both fantastic, and this is what happens when you let creative people go and be creative. This is just working. It's working beautifully, and I'm very sad that it's probably going to end up being somebody like the authors of Pain, you know, coming up from NXT, and they're end up going to get squashed again because I don't expect this to be obviously American Alpha or something like that, like a real team that we've seen before or seen recently.
It can't be American Alpha.
It can't be American Alpha because Jason Jordan is now Kurt Angle's
one of them just
son.
found out they got daddy issues.
And on Raw, apparently. So,
apparently.
You know, I don't know if it's going to be a team that we've seen before. So I think that it's going to be a team that's kind of getting called up from NXT. And if that's the case, I think that this debut is going to warrant them losing, which is really unfortunate because I was hoping that at one point Breezango was going to be the next SmackDown Tag Team Champions.
It was going in that direction until New Day came back.
Yeah, which, you know, the New Day still is the New Day, and they're still as over as ever, so you can't
They still
really...
sell T-shirts.
Yeah, and you can't... And
that equals creativity.
And, you know, everything, so you can't really blame them for that,
No,
you know,
because...
because I just would love a Breezango and a New Day rivalry for the tag team titles. Because
it would be very colorful.
It would be very colorful.
Very colorful.
Very flamboyant. It'll be a ton of fun.
But what we can say about Breezango is this is like a great example of why we need more Southpaw regional wrestling. Period.
I was online. I was on Twitter at LiamNAI. And
were you?
Yeah, I know. It's crazy. I'm never on Twitter ever. But
were you using the Google machine?
I was using the Googles. But somebody was talking about actually having Southpaw Regional Wrestling have an actual pay-per-view. So, like, just have them all, like, do Lethal Leap Year. First of all,
that'd be awesome.
If you haven't actually watched Southpaw Regional Wrestling, it's all on YouTube. It's on WWE's YouTube page. Go and check it out because
it's fantastic.
It's awesome. It's a ton of fun. Again, like, you watch someone like Tyler Breeze go out there and get to be creative as this evil banker character who has a sea creature monster. Rusev, I would watch him as that farmer. I just wish that would be, we'll get to him later in the show for his match at Battleground, but I would love him and Lana to be those farmer characters because it just worked so well.
And Fandango and John Cena, easily the best play-by-play color commentary team in wrestling history.
They definitely are. I thought that John Cena really got to shine as a performer to be that, you know, clean-cut former news broadcast anchor from Utica, New York. It was a ton of fun. It was
Michael Cole. Michael Cole.
Not Michael Cole. But... yeah,
so a war correspondent, was he? We haven't heard that once or twice.
Oh yeah. Ugh.
But so yes, please go watch that on YouTube. It's basically, I feel it's kind of the genesis because they were able to play around. They were able to show that they're really creative people, and it's what brought us the current incarnation of Breezango. And probably some of the funniest stuff SmackDown is doing is these, you know, it's not Law and Order because now they're doing X-Files. They did Walker, Texas Ranger. Holy crap, that was hilarious.
That was so funny. They also
not Chuck Norris.
Yeah, and then they also did Miami Vice. So,
Miami Vice, that's correct.
They did Miami Vice. So they're kind
I'm
of
waiting for Baywatch.
It's got to be coming, right? It's got to be.
Because you know Hasselhoff's a fan of the product.
Oh God,
they got to put him in.
Next up is probably going to be my favorite match of the night, and that is Shinsuke Nakamura versus Mr. Money in the Bank Baron Corbin.
Mm-hmm.
I think that this match has the potential to probably be the best on the card. We have seen AJ Styles and Kevin Owens, so that's kind of why I'm dismissing that a little bit. While that will be good, and we'll talk about that in a little bit. Baron Corbin versus Shinsuke Nakamura, I think, has the potential to be very, very hard-hitting. You know, the King of Strong Style versus Baron Corbin, who wrestles a very strong style in his own right. Having those two kind of go at it in a pay-per-view setting, I think is going to be great. You know, Shinsuke Nakamura is a big game performer, and Baron Corbin has definitely improved, especially coming from NXT, where he used to do 15-second squash matches.
Right,
you know,
right.
so all the way up to probably being one of the next big, great talents for the next 8 to 10 years here in WWE.
The last year, I've been really impressed with Baron Corbin. I was cold on him when he showed up from NXT, and he won the Andre Battle Royal, and then he kind of did nothing. And it was one of those characters, and I'm like, I don't know exactly what they're trying to do with him. But this past year, and even the Money in the Bank thing, it's just that has really skyrocketed him into my personal perspective. I feel he's done a hell of a job.
Yeah, well, it's also, you know, goes to a greater point in WWE where if you have these characters win big things early, we get ingrained to realize that they're big players. And he won the Andre the Giant Memorial Battle Royal, really when that didn't mean anything. Now, retroactively, from being Mr. Money in the Bank, that Andre the Giant Memorial Battle Royal feels like a big deal. So, you know, they did a really good job kind of making the Battle Royal feel a lot better. We'll see what ends up ultimately happening with Mojo Rawley, who won it this year.
I was going to say, you saw me
Mojo
smirking,
Mania.
and I was like, yeah, we're kind of building to our guy. What's going to happen with Mojo? He's got to win next year's Money in the Bank, obviously.
Right.
That's going to be the progression.
I was hoping beyond hoping, and there's still hope because next Tuesday we reset for SummerSlam. But
of course.
I think because of the rivalry with Jinder, like at the actual Battle Royal, he might main event SummerSlam from the SmackDown end of things.
I'm hoping.
Yeah, we have a pizza bet on the New Age Insiders as to whether or not that's going to happen.
How many?
We're up to two. I lost one about James Ellsworth not being in a pay-per-view, but yeah. So
well, thank God you lost that one.
I know. So
let's not talk about him. It depresses me.
Yeah,
it angers me.
He is terrible.
I'm on vacation. I don't want to be angry on vacation, so let's not talk about James Ellsworth.
Especially with the mutant person that is James Ellsworth.
Exactly.
Who was on an episode of the New Age Insiders, which was, we got to talk to that guy. The best part about him is that he's very self-aware.
Big gets happening.
Yeah, huge gets.
Huge guests happening over there at New Age Insiders. No, I'm joking, of course.
You know it. So who do you have in this Shinsuke Nakamura versus Baron Corbin match?
I feel they're leaning towards Shinsuke Nakamura. Just because he's been getting, because of all the sneak attacks, because of all the heelish tactics, if you will, of Baron Corbin, always jumping him from behind. I feel once they put him face to face in the ring, they're going to have to go with Shinsuke because that's kind of it's the comeuppance type of thing.
Yeah.
And I don't see this carrying over to SummerSlam.
Right.
So they're gonna have to move on to the next thing. And if you're getting jumped from behind, you're getting beat up from behind, you're getting hit with a briefcase in wrestling. Of course, why not? You have to get your comeuppance at a certain point.
Yeah, I definitely feel like this is just going to be a very fun one-off contest. So I kind of feel the same way. Yeah, I just feel it's the same thing where I think Shinsuke Nakamura, I think just kind of, gives Corbin his comeuppance. Corbin runs off, tail between his legs, and then we reset on Tuesday for SummerSlam. Exactly. Up next, we have...
Well, actually, before we get to the next one, because the next group of matches all kind of have stipulations or titles involved, there was a match that I didn't actually... It was added so late that I couldn't add it to our little breakdown here. Of course, it's the Power of Love, Mike Kanellis versus Sami Zayn. I think it just got added, yesterday or something like that?
Yeah. So I'm really happy.
First of all, I was very excited because I've been a Mike Bennett fan for many, many years. Of course, friend of the show, Matt Taven. Yep. They did the Kingdom run for how many years? And it was one of those things like when him and Maria showed up, it was like, finally. He was one of those guys that's finally he's getting this big, grand push into WWE.
Yeah, I'm excited that they're here. I think that I loved the title of Love in Ring of Honor where they stole Jay Briscoe's Real World title and made it the title of Love and put felt and pink and them kissing on the front. And it was...
That was kind of... I think both of us were thinking the same thing a couple pay-per-views ago when we were talking about what would happen if Breezango won the tag titles.
Yes.
We never said it, but I'm pretty sure both of us were thinking of Mike Bennett's title there.
Yes, we were thinking of the title of Love. And
great minds.
Yeah, great minds. That's why we have the show. And so then I just think that Sami Zayn is here to lose this match. This is Mike Bennett's first pay-per-view match. You know, this is
Sami Zayn's here to lose every match.
Yeah, Sami Zayn. Sami Zayn is going to make him look like $1 million and lose. Sami Zayn is the new Dolph Ziggler at this point.
Is he, or is he the new Daniel Bryan?
See, I don't think.
Do we get a Sami Zayn run like a year and a half from now?
See, I think that you might be onto something. I don't think right now he's at that Daniel Bryan level because the fan reaction isn't a fever pitch where the ole, ole, ole chants are so deafening that they have to give him the world title. But, you know, I think maybe 1 or 2 years from now we might get a world title run from him. You know, you have that built-in storyline, even though they keep telling us that this is the last time Kevin Owens and Sami Zayn are ever going to fight forever into eternity. We know that that's a lie, and eventually Kevin Owens will win this WWE title. And when that happens, I think Sami Zayn, there's a built-in program there that I think everybody is willing and ready to see. But until then, I think Sami Zayn is going to kind of toil around in this, you know, I'm going to make everybody look great. I'm going to put on very fun matches. Everybody's going to really like me, but I'm not going to necessarily win anything. So,
and this, I mean, it's Mike Kanellis, his coming out party almost for WWE. So he's obviously got to go over. He's got to look big. He's got to look strong. And it's going to be, I feel there's going to be a lot of shenanigans happening with Maria.
Yeah,
just based on their match from SmackDown.
I don't expect that this ends clean. You know, I don't think that he's going to sneak away with this victory in the sneakiest of sneaky fashions. You know,
I hope another potted plant is introduced.
Oh God, I hate potted plants. You know, that's just a personal thing for me. So you're welcome.
As a Disney guy, I understand. You know, potted plants. I mean, there's something shut down behind those. So I get the same disdain for potted plants.
Yeah, you can't do it. And they're closing down the Great Movie Ride, and I'm still sad about it.
Yeah. I know.
Yeah. You know what? This is the Battleground preview, not the Liam is mad about the Great Movie Ride closing in Disney World.
Follow us on Twitter, and we can do a whole Disney episode just for you Disney fans out there.
Yeah, if you want,
we'll do that for you.
Just tweet at me, and we'll talk about it.
We'll set up a premium account, something like that. Maybe get a couple bucks out of it. Cool.
Ooh, very fun.
Anyway,
very fun.
Coming
up next
is
the traditional or untraditional flag match between Rusev and Mr. America John Cena.
Okay, this is the first of now 3 America matches happening on this one show.
Yes.
And, I mean, a flag match is so 80s.
Yep.
This is such a throwback match. And I don't know. I know it's un-American to say what I'm about to say, but John Cena's force-fed, shoehorned America promo from the 4th of July segment, they keep replaying it, and I keep rolling my eyes. I'm going to pull a muscle right about here, rolling my eyes so much on this thing.
Yeah, I don't need another. I need Rusev to step away from the nationalism aspect of his character because he was billed in NXT as this super athlete, that he knew Brazilian Jiu-Jitsu and Muay Thai and wrestling, and he was a master of 6 different martial arts. That's why he was the best. He was the best because he was a super athlete in all of these combat sports. And for him to now transition into the main roster and only have nationalist ties, so it's, hey, I'm super Russian, super Russian, super Russian, and then John Cena comes in for America to take the U.S. title back for America. For them,
how many times can we do this?
Right. For him to go away.
This is like the 4th time they've redone this storyline.
Right. And now we're back to square one from WrestleMania 31, where I'm here for America.
And there's not even a title involved.
And there's not even a title involved. And then WWE, you said it so perfectly. This is a match from the 80s. They only did flag matches from the 80s. Now, the real question is that which flag match is this going to be? Is this going to be one of those things where you have to, pick up your flag and wave it and you win? Or is it going to be one where there's a pulley system involved? Or
it's a big boy version of capture the flag.
Right. Or is this the one where you can pick up the flag and now that's a weapon? Like, what flag match is this? Explain the rules when you have so many different versions of this match.
The problem is John Cena can't lose this.
Right, he can't lose.
Because America.
Yeah, right. He's defending the title of America. He's coming back from his honeymoon hiatus filming American Grit Season 2 or whatever movies for America and soldiers and yay. You know, so John Cena's poor Rusev, because he's going to keep stumbling out of these starting blocks when he comes in. Now, he keeps getting hurt, and that's hurting him as well, but it doesn't help when he keeps smashing into this John Cena wall.
He also keeps cutting his hair, and you know how much that pisses everybody off in the back.
Yeah, and announcing weddings that he's having.
Right, in the middle of a love triangle storyline.
Yeah, I proposed to my girlfriend, and now we're getting married.
I get it. Wrestling's a gimmick, but come on, man.
Yeah.
Ask first.
There's a lot.
You can make money off. You always hear the old guys saying, you got to make money off of that. If you're going to cut your hair versus hair match with somebody, easy.
Right, exactly.
I mean, that's what Kurt Angle did. He was losing his hair, so that's what he did the Edge versus Kurt Angle, hair versus hair. He got his head shaved.
Right, and it all worked out. Everybody loves it.
And they made money. They did a pay-per-view. They built to it.
Now, moving on.
What's Rusev have against money? I mean, why is he so un-American?
I know. He's Bulgarian. He's not even Russian. He's Bulgarian. It's, yeah. So John Cena is going to win this walking away. I mean, clearly. Up next is the number one contenders fatal 5-way elimination match between
I was so happy to let you read that.
Charlotte, Lana, Becky Lynch, Tamina, and Natalya. This is, again, another pay-per-view where I don't know why the Women's Championship, one, isn't featured or featured more prominently.
Again, it's a match that I feel we've seen this for 3 months now.
Yeah, they just keep doing different gimmicks. We saw this in the Money in the Bank ladder match with the women, and we saw that twice. But having them just kind of reshuffle this deck again. I don't know what's up with Naomi. I don't know why they don't pair one of these women with her to have a women's title match in addition to a 4-way elimination match. I don't know why we need to shoehorn the 5th woman into this when one of them, pick any one of them, because Lana faced her for the title at Money in the Bank. Charlotte is always a contender. Same thing with Becky Lynch and Natalya. And then Tamina, if you wanted to tell that story, you could. So I don't know why we're doing this. Why are we doing the number one contender match on a pay-per-view?
Well, I feel they're trying to tell some story, and we kind of hinted at it last week, 2 weeks ago when we did the other pay-per-view, which I've already forgotten. But I feel they're trying to tell a story with Tamina and Lana, and I don't know what that story is yet, but I have a really weird, sneaking suspicion that Tamina is going to help Lana win this match, despite the fact I'm all on Team Flair.
Oh, of course. I think everybody's on Team Flair, especially shifting into a more traditional babyface role. Right. Everybody's rooting for her. I think Becky Lynch needs a little bit more character development in terms of, adding that extra layer, making sure that she's a little bit more three-dimensional than she is. Then it's just like, I'm the Irish last kicker and I'm Irish, yay. You know what I mean? Like, I don't...
She's gotten to the point where she wears a T-shirt in the ring.
Yeah.
I mean... She's gotten to that point, and that's TNA Sting point. That's like you're trying to remind people, hey, this is me.
Yeah, I don't.
This is my name.
Yeah, this is my name. The TNA.
This is my name. See, it's right here. I have a T-shirt. Buy it.
Saddest thing I've ever watched.
But I do like the fact that her and Charlotte have kind of developed their own little too sweet with the teacups.
Yeah.
Adorable.
I think that these women, they're all very good, but I think that Raw is definitely capitalizing on the women's division better than the SmackDown women are. I think the Raw writing staff is using all of the women at their disposal and using them very, very well. I think they're bringing everybody in and out and moving them up and down, where SmackDown doesn't really know what to do with these women, so they're just throwing them all together, put on this great match, and then we'll try and figure it out later. And that's kind of how this feels to me. I think that it's kind of...
The problem is that they have all the right pieces. They have all the right people that can put together unbelievable matches.
Right.
They have Charlotte, they have Becky, they have Naomi, they have Carmella even. And it's almost like this is the last few months. They've been like, I don't know what to do.
Right.
So just let's put all of them in a match. And unfortunately... the women's revolution, that whole thing, and they are giving them a lot more time than they were in the past, but still their matches are shorter than the average match. So it's when you put 5 people in a match consistently on pay-per-view, there's going to be moments that are that are missed, that are skipped over, just because everybody's got to get a spot in, so you can't play out two unbelievable competitors doing a 15-20 minute match.
Yeah, and it also just feels like we're doing it for the sake of doing it, as opposed to giving it any meaning.
Right.
You know,
now we could be both completely wrong, and they could build some great story out of this next match, hopefully to something to SummerSlam.
Right. Well, that's ultimately what you would hope, is that the number one contender would then on Tuesday be like, I'm the number one contender for SmackDown, and we'd build from there. But right. I don't necessarily see that happening right away, just because their track record hasn't been all that good with developing these female-led storylines. But so who do you have in this match? You have Charlotte, right?
I wish, but no. My gut is telling me that Tamina helps Lana win.
Yeah. See, I want to say that Tamina is going to win, just because I keep saying it's put up or shut up time for Tamina Snuka. She's been on this roster for forever. They are having a better character play Tamina on Raw in Nia Jax. Nia Jax plays Tamina Snuka way better than Tamina Snuka does. So you gotta kind of put up or shut up. See what you have with this person. Your babyface champion against a mean, big, and scary woman. I think Tamina should get this heading on to SummerSlam.
I agree, but for some reason I just see them doing something there, and it's been Tamina almost helping or coaxing Lana into doing certain things, and that it was just that weird moment when Lana lost. I think it was her third title match in 3 weeks, and Tamina just kind of was like, she was almost like snapping her, like, all right, let's go, time to go, and it's like, you're not her mom. What are you doing?
You're not my adult.
So, my adult?
Yeah, I just think that we've seen a bunch of Lana stuff versus the champion.
I do too, but for some reason that keeps floating through my head.
Yeah,
despite the fact that I wish it would be Charlotte at SummerSlam.
Yeah, I think we all do. I think the more times Charlotte can be in something for a title, the better.
Right. And the blue belt would look great with all those blue robes.
Yes, it would.
Because this is Fashion Files on That Wrestling Show.
Yeah. Hashtag. Up next, we have the tag team titles match, The New Day versus the Usos. We had the ever so satisfying ending the last time that these teams met in a count-out victory for the New Day, which of course means that they don't get the titles. That ending to the last version of this match at the last pay-per-view was so infuriating, because you can break a count-out if you just exited the ring. All Kofi Kingston had to do to stop the 10 count was to just roll out and then keep rolling out and back in to keep breaking that 10 count, while Big E went and chased the Usos back into the ring. I don't understand why they just let that happen. I get it, we need to have more matches, but that was nonsense. And we're talking about a show where grown men solve their problems with violence from 8 to 11 on a school night. So I understand that there's a level of nonsense. This was a notch turned up. So I don't think that we get a satisfying ending to this match either. I think we get more shenanigans from the Usos, because this feels like the title fight, the prize fight that should be at SummerSlam. And if this was 2 pay-per-views ago, then yeah, I think the New Day definitely has an opportunity to come in and win this title. But doesn't it feel like we're just kind of in a holding pattern until we get to SummerSlam?
Yeah, we are. We're definitely in a holding pattern, and we have been since the New Day came back, because they jumped right into the title picture. I mean, they didn't have to. They basically said, thanks for holding our spot, Breezango. Take a seat. Yeah,
which is sad, because I love Breezango so much.
I know. But I also feel that despite the countouts and the whatnots and all that stuff, they have been doing a decent job of getting us from point A to point B week after week. Mostly, I love the progression of the Usos.
Yes.
They're going to be the biggest ones hurt by Talking Smack going away.
Yeah.
Mostly them and The Miz are going to be the biggest ones hurt by that. Not counting, of course, Renee Young. But I feel that the progression that they've made, the characters that they've done, because they were very much floundering in obscurity when they were just kind of basically the 2017 Islanders.
Right. It was.
And now they're their own characters. They're their own people. They're their own guys.
They've developed into something way better. And this goes back to my point about Breezango, where it's like, let the creative people be creative. This feels far closer to what the Usos want to be than what they were forced to be. You know, and it feels better. Their match style hasn't changed at all, really, but we're more invested in the characters, so we don't hate their matches as much because we're invested in these characters. We're invested in what they're doing. We want to see them get their comeuppance as bad guys. So when they don't, it makes us even madder, which is the point of this entire thing. I think you're right that having Talking Smack go away and Raw Talk, which I feel like they only do after pay-per-views anyway. But
Raw Talk's been gone for a while.
Yeah, I think they only did Raw Talk after pay-per-views. It wasn't actually after Raw because they were always pumping something from the network or ride along a table for 3 of WWE 24. I would love for somebody, probably Corey Graves. I think that would be the perfect. If Corey Graves and Renee Young joint hosted like a WWE late night talk show where once a week, probably on Thursday when they don't have any other content that's live on the network, and then that way you can ask these people to come in and stage these segments a little bit more like like Talking Smack did with The Miz and the Usos. I think that might be a great way to supplement what you would lose creatively by taking Raw Talk and Talking Smack away completely.
I mean, they could do it on a show like That Wrestling Show here on Nessun, by the way.
Yeah, or you could just come on to That Wrestling Show and we'll do it every week.
Please. WWE, buy us.
Yeah, I'll do it.
But so you thinking the Usos are going to kind of squeak their way through to SummerSlam?
I think this is going to be a DQ. It's going to be a blatant DQ. That way the New Day has a case for losing 2 straight, but being able to go at SummerSlam. That's just probably in the steel cage, no disqualification, some sort of stipulated environment.
Yeah. For some reason, I keep seeing SummerSlam happening, adding at least 1, possibly 2 other teams to a tag team title match.
Yeah, that could be the other thing.
I don't know why.
Where the New Day win this, and then we get a multi-man. At SummerSlam.
Yeah,
That's
like a multi-team tag team title match. For some reason, I see that happening more than just another. Because again, it's another one of these matches which we just talked about with the women. We've seen this match for like the last 3 months.
Right.
Time and time again. At least they did a rap battle one week. That was fun.
Wale was there.
Wale. I'm now a big Wale fan, even though haven't heard a single one of his songs.
yeah.
His Wolfpack shirt won me over, man.
It was very fun. Up next, we have the United States Championship. The champion, AJ Styles, versus the former face of America, Kevin Owens. This goes to a bigger thing that we touched on the New Age Insiders podcast a couple weeks ago. This title changed hands at a house show. So Kevin Owens, leading up to this entire thing, up until I think last week, he was the champion. And he lost it at Madison Square Garden on a house show. Now, it is also noted, because we did bring this up too, that the night that Kevin Owens lost the United States Championship to AJ Styles was also the night that the New Japan Pro Wrestling IWGP United States Championship match, like the crowning one, played on TV if you didn't have New Japan and you watched it on Access. So I wonder if that was done on purpose. I don't think it was super vindictive. But at the same time, I do want to say that is a point that needs to be brought up, that WWE maybe took a shot across the bow against New Japan when they had their U.S. title kind of take center stage on Friday night, when a lot of people that got excited for New Japan were going to watch that New Japan title, but then ended up talking about the WWE United States Championship.
Yeah, I mean, I think without getting too #Meltzer says on it, I feel that there's a number of factors that went into it. New Japan was doing their thing, yes, so of course you wanted to beat them in the social media thing. I know they were filming part of AJ's upcoming DVD there, so it's a Madison Square Garden moment. They always want to do something special and something different when they go to Madison Square Garden. And I also heard that Kevin Owens may not, again, #Meltzer says, might be hurt.
See, I heard that it was #Kevin Owens' idea, but that's...
And there you go. It could be we could be reading way too much into all of this. Maybe he just was like, let's make a moment.
Yeah, I think that's probably it. I think it's far more like, hey, let's make a moment, let's do something cool at Madison Square Garden. I think
it'll add another layer to this ongoing story.
Right, and so now the best part about wrestling, or when wrestling is at its best, like Bill Neville of the New Age Insiders always says, is
look at you name dropping left and right.
Huh? Well, because I'm going to quote him. I'm going to quote him, and he's going to get mad if I don't quote him. All right. So when wrestling is unpredictable, it's at its best, and
the show falls off the rails when I go on vacation.
It really does. It does, because I'm in business for myself. But we have AJ Styles and Kevin Owens. We don't know who's going to win, and that's the best part about this, because both of these wrestlers are so good and they're so talented. Having them wrestle in a match where we don't know who's going to win, because Kevin Owens could retain this championship, or could win this championship back, or AJ could retain it. And I don't think one is better than the other, but the match will be good, because we can't go into it, similarly to like Sami Zayn and Mike Kanellis. We know who's going to win that match. So as fun as that match may be, we know the outcome. So at the end of the day, we can only get so excited. A false finish in a match against Kevin Owens and AJ Styles for this U.S. title on Sunday, there is an unpredictability to it. And because of that unpredictability, it could steal the show, because the false finishes are going to hit. Because it's like, oh, Kevin Owens is going to win. This is definitely it. Oh, my God, he kicked out. Oh, AJ's going to win. Oh, my God, he kicked out. Oh, and it builds to that fever pitch. So I'm very excited for this.
I feel this is, for where you took the Shinsuke Nakamura Baron Corbin match, I feel this is going to be the one that absolutely takes the show. Match of the night type. It has match of the night written all over it. These two, they've worked together outside of WWE, and they both have that, like, they're always in at least the top 3 matches on no matter what show they're on. So I feel that it can be, and they tell great stories, both of them. Like you said, if it was Kevin Owens' idea, there's a reason behind that. He's not just going to do it just because let's give that crowd a pop. No, it's going to be because I want to do X, Y, and Z building to SummerSlam. He's going to do it to make money.
Right. This is a match. This is a reason to tune in to this pay-per-view kind of match. Not like the main event.
Let's get to it, man. Let's get to it.
The main event, it's a doozy. We have the WWE Championship on the line, where champion Jinder Mahal defends against Randy Orton for the millionth time in a Punjabi prison match. This match is complete and utter clown car nonsense. It's absolute clown car nonsense. So it's a cage match, but the cage is made up of bamboo reeds, so it looks like more like an old school cage where it's like a 1x1 like square, and you have to escape the cage, and then you only have so much time to like run out the door, but if the time runs out, they close the door and it locks forever and you're trapped between, but you can just climb over the second fence. And it's nonsense. This is absolute nonsense.
It is bonkers. Yeah, so there's 2 cages, as you said, made out of bamboo, and the first cage has 4 doors. So once you call for a door to open, that door opens up. Now you have 60 seconds to get out of that door, and once that door closes after 60 seconds, it's closed for good. So you technically have 4 chances, 4 minutes, to get out of the first cage. If you can't and you're trapped, yes, you can climb over the top and get to the second cage. Now, once you're into the second layer of the Punjabi Pam Grier movie, and you have to get out of the second cage, you can only climb out of that cage. There's no doors. Now, of course, it's not like the Kennel from Hell. There's no Rottweilers, messing themselves around the ring. However, you still have to climb out of the second cage, which is, I believe, 20 feet tall. First one's 15, second one's 20. It's a mess. Yeah, it looks like I said last time we were doing this, it looks like a 70s Pam Grier movie. It looks like the Big Birdcage or the Big Dollhouse. It's fantastic.
I'm pretty sure she was in a movie called The Punjabi Prison.
Was there a movie called Punjabi Prison?
I want to say that Pam Grier is in a movie that is...
Oh my God, that's fantastic.
Yeah. So I'm pretty sure that got brought to my attention on the social medias. I'll look it up. I'll get to you. We'll figure it out.
If not, she should be.
If not, she should be. Now we should make it. We'll do it.
Let's write it. After we end the show, we'll start writing Pam Grier in the Punjabi prison. That'd be fantastic.
Yeah, it'll be fun. It'll be like Black Dynamite, which
exactly
is a very fun movie, and you should watch it. Yeah.
Yes. Again, a show for another time. Follow us on Twitter, and we'll do a whole Pam Grier movie fest just for you.
Yeah, we'll do it. We'll 24-hour live stream. It'll be a ton of fun.
There you go. I like it.
This Punjabi prison, first of all, I'm very done with Randy Orton versus Jinder Mahal, and I hope that this is the last one. This feels like the blow-off match, so it feels like whatever we're doing, this is it. This is going to be the finale. I don't see Jinder Mahal losing this match. I think that we've come this far, so
let's get him to SummerSlam.
Keep going. I felt like he was going to hold this to SummerSlam anyway, so have him hold it to SummerSlam just to get it over with.
Right.
Having him lose this match, it would be bonkers and weird, and I don't think Randy Orton should win this thing. If The Undertaker couldn't win one, I don't think that Randy Orton should.
No, absolutely not. I agree 100%. I think Jinder is going to carry the title. He's going to go to SummerSlam. And as you said, I think we're both hoping that Mojo somehow finds his way into the title picture.
Yeah,
that's my only goal out of the Punjabi prison match is that Jinder holds on to it so we can get Mojo.
Yeah. Because why not?
Because that's fun.
You know, I think that what WWE is doing with their two top titles right now, you have Raw with the Universal title, and it's working. Now, I have a ton of issues with the fact that rumors are that Brock Lesnar might be going back to UFC in November, and if that's the case, they've been building this story that's supposed to be to WrestleMania in April, but if Brock Lesnar is going to do UFC again, he's going to drop the title at SummerSlam. There's a whole bunch of nonsense that I absolutely hate about that because
it was a quick 2 years, wasn't it?
Yeah, what?
Wasn't that suspension 2 years?
It was one, and I don't know if they ever levied the suspension. I don't know. I feel like it's also like a WWE situation where it's like UFC suspended him. So if they're like, all right, year and time served, get back in there, big guy.
Okay.
You know,
make some money.
I don't know if there is like a national governing body. I don't know anything about UFC. I just know that they stand in an octagon and they wear like gloves. And
I was going to say you're the one sitting there with the glove over your shoulder.
Yeah, I got the glove over my shoulder, and that's all I know about UFC. I don't know anything about it.
Fantastic.
They do real beat 'em ups as opposed to the fake beat 'em ups. It's slightly different.
Right.
But yeah, so what they've been doing with that title has been great. His program with Samoa Joe was fantastic. I think they're kind of in a little bit of a holding pattern going to SummerSlam, but it looks like it's going to be some combination of Brock Lesnar versus Braun Strowman, Roman Reigns, and Samoa Joe, which sign me up. All three of those, sounds
awesome.
I'm very into. And then on the SmackDown side of things, it's just like, I guess we got Jinder, and it's just. It feels like we're taking more of our medicine on this end of things when this is supposed to be the people's show, and it feels more corporate and forced than necessarily Raw's.
It will be the people's show when Mojo is headlining SummerSlam.
Yeah. Mojo Mania.
Mojo Mania, hashtag.
So we're going to get to the wrestling rant.
Wrestling rant.
The wrestling rant. We got to get an animation. I don't know who we got to talk to. But
we'll
I
get
need
graphics, sounders, all that stuff. We just got to get sponsors first.
Just a huge wipe that comes that just says wrestling rant, and somebody gets body slammed. But it's the words.
So basically, I heard Justin Barrasso, who covers WWE and pro wrestling for Sports Illustrated, was recently on Danny Picard's podcast, Danny Picard Show. And he revealed that Fenway and Gillette submitted for SummerSlam and WrestleMania respectively. So the Patriots and the Red Sox wanted to get in on WWE, and they were both denied. He did say, however, that they said a possibility that an NXT show could be held at Fenway Park down the line in the future. It seems like a blow-off to me type of thing. Now, I was at the Legends Classic, the one after the Winter Classic, the day after the Winter Classic. I went to the Legends Classic at Fenway Park. It was fun. It was shenanigans. But the sightlines, this is what I want to get into, because I want to hear your opinion, being somebody who has been to a number of outdoor WrestleManias over the last few years. What do you feel about them? What's your positives, pros, cons, etc.? Because for me, I feel wrestling at Fenway Park wouldn't work because of horrible sightlines. That's my first takeaway. Gillette, it's big, it's a stadium, it's built for looking down towards the middle, as opposed to Fenway Park, which is like a lot of neck turning type of stuff.
Yeah.
But having gone to WrestleMania in outdoor stadiums over the last few years, I really want to hear your opinion on this.
Yeah, that's the biggest issue with these outdoor venues, is that they can't suspend the lighting trusses from the ceiling. So what they have to do is create a canopy where 4 posts are constructed near the 4 corners of the ring, and they go up, and then there's a canopy, and then the lights are hung off of that. So when you watch these events, when you have this match,
I'm hearing you.
oh, I lost my mic. It fell off of the thing. Oh, that's why there was tape on this.
Live TV, everybody.
Live TV, everybody.
No problem.
So there we go.
So it was the last couple WrestleManias you were at. You went to the one in what was it, San Diego or San Jose?
Yeah.
And then so that was what, 31, right?
Yes, 31.
And then 32 was Dallas.
Yeah,
right?
And they had a roof, so they were able to suspend everything.
Still giant, what, 110,000, something like that?
Yeah, it was absurd. And then last year it was Camping World Stadium in Orlando, and that had a canopy as well. And so when you have that
Did you go to New York? Were you at Giant Stadium?
I didn't go to New York.
Okay.
The first one I went to was 31. And
okay.
You have that issue because there is a pole that's very close to the ring. So unless you're on one of the actual ring sides, you end up having a sightline issue because there is a big, huge pole. Now, Fenway Park in and of itself has horrible sightlines. Like, there are tickets where you just might be behind a pole. And
it's made for baseball. It wasn't made for anything else. And even, having been to a couple of concerts there, if you're sitting in the wrong seat, you spend the entire show with your neck craned like that.
Right. Because none of the seats in the back corner of those bleachers near the Coca-Cola roof deck or whatever, they're all pointed to center field as opposed to pointed to home plate. So yeah, you're sitting craned. But I think that NXT having a takeover at NXT an NXT takeover at Fenway Park would be very cool. I think that it would be a ton of fun to watch. I think that
it'd be a novelty act.
Yeah, it's a novelty show. I think it might be something fun and worth doing. But yeah, I
guess my concern, and yeah, I guess NXT wouldn't be a bad constellation, but to me, like I said, it would feel very much like that was one of the reasons I went to the Legends Classic as opposed to the Winter Classic, because for $30, I'm willing to forego a few sightline issues.
Right.
But I mean, if we're talking SummerSlam, you're probably talking a couple $100 for a ticket, and to be sitting there with your neck craned for 4, 5, maybe 6 hours.
Yeah, it's definitely
for a couple
not worth
$100.
it.
Yeah, that's
a
rough.
SummerSlam wouldn't be worth it at Fenway Park. I just don't think that having it there would be worth it for a lot of the logistical reasons that kind of plague Red Sox games. I think the seats are, a little too small for especially wrestling fans who are a little larger sometimes. And
we're a hefty group.
Just a hefty group all the way around. That and NASCAR. And having them cram into Fenway and then be put on the grass, especially for SummerSlam, I don't see the Red Sox being okay with
it's the middle of the season.
In the middle of the season, basically letting a bunch of people just on the grass, because it would be nonsense. It would be absolute nonsense. It might destroy parts of the field, and I don't think that they'd be game for that anyway.
And not to mention, I mean, when WWE comes to town for SummerSlam or for WrestleMania, they're there for usually 5 days. There's 4 or 5 shows, because they not only do NXT, they do the actual show, which would be SummerSlam or WrestleMania. Then they'll do Raw. Then they'll do SmackDown. They don't leave the city. They basically Thursday till Wednesday, taking over that area. And with the Red Sox playing 972 games a season, it's probably going to fall in a game day.
Yeah, and it just, I don't think logistically Fenway would work. Now, Gillette, on the other hand, I think Gillette would work, and it's very unfortunate because we've talked about this before. I think you and I have discussed this.
Yeah.
there is so much potential to host a WrestleMania here. Having been at several of these WrestleManias, the way that WWE kind of descends on a city and the kind of the way it works is they put everybody up near where access is, which is usually at a convention center. So the hotel that's usually attached to it, that's the WWE hotel. And then the NXT, the Hall of Fame, and then Raw and SmackDown are all hosted in the same building. So logistically, Boston would work if WWE wanted to. It doesn't feel like they do, but you have the BCEC over in the Seaport. That's where you host Access. It's big enough, it's large enough, you'd be able to host all of the Access stuff over there. The Westin is right attached to it. So you have the hotel that's right there. It's also a walk to South Station that has a train line directly to Gillette Stadium. So when we went to San Jose, that was the same deal, where the convention center was attached to this hotel, and then they gave us all, as a part of a package, they gave us a train ticket. And then the train went from right outside the hotel, maybe a few blocks down, went from there to Levi Stadium and then back. They gave us a round-trip ticket. So you would be able to do the same thing, and then obviously the Garden would be able to host the Hall of Fame, NXT TakeOver, the Raw, the SmackDown after, because they normally run in that building. So I don't know why they necessarily wouldn't. The only reason I could see them going against it is because the way that WrestleMania is, that would be the event. It would have to be WrestleMania. But WrestleMania is usually the end of March into April, and it's cold and wet here. And when it's cold and wet here, you risk it being rainy and cold. And WrestleMania 29, that was in New York.
You say that, but there was New York.
Right, but New York was cold and wet and rainy. And so they risked that, and it ended up biting them in the ass. Kind of in the same way that it bit the Super Bowl in the ass between the Broncos and the Seahawks. So, I think that that's why they're apprehensive to do it. I think that if Gillette Stadium was a dome, then no brainer, they would have done it. But I don't think that it being an open air stadium at the end of March into April, I think that that's why they're apprehensive.
They would need to get very, very lucky on the weather.
Right.
Plain and simple. And I would love it. And it surprised me at face value. I think both kind of surprised me, only because WWE has a really good history with Boston. I mean, we're kind of a wrestling town. Right.
I think also having, if there was to be a brand new baseball park that was instituted, like if the Red Sox played in a new Fenway of some kind, then it would be a no-brainer that they would host a SummerSlam at that venue.
Sure.
But I just don't think that the building, the way it's currently constituted, I don't think that they would necessarily jump at that opportunity. But
yeah,
again, I think it would
the more
be cool.
I thought about it, the Fenway sounded like it was just going to be a nightmare.
Yeah,
that many people. Like I said, sightlines was the first thing I thought of. And just, the more you think about it, the concourses, all that stuff, it's not laid out for a wrestling show.
Right, and I think that NXT would be very cool. Having them at NXT would be awesome. I think a takeover would be, it's a slightly different beast compared to the standard WWE shows. I think it would be very cool. I think it would be very fun, but it's a little bit smaller. It's a little bit tighter, and I think that would fit into Fenway Park, which would be really cool, and I would love to see it.
But here's my only issue with that. For me, it feels like you said, it's a little smaller, and the crowd draw might not be as big. And the last thing I would want is all of a sudden they book Fenway Park, and it's almost like a Global Force Wrestling show that we've seen pictures of, where it's like, you got the first few rows of Fenway filled up, and then all of empty seats.
Right. And I work as a part of Chaotic Wrestling up in Woburn, and we have a show that we're doing for the second time at the end of August called The Night of Grand Slams. It's at the Lowell Spinner Stadium at Edward A. LaLasha Park. And one issue...
You got that name out? Wow.
Boom!
I've seen that written down, and I've never tried to say it. I'm just like, nope, I'm not going to embarrass myself.
I nailed
it.
But an issue with hosting a wrestling event at a baseball stadium is that the way that a lot of wrestling does things at baseball stadiums, is they put the ring on top of the pitcher's mound, right? That's where it's resting, so that it's close enough to all of the fans. But they don't seat anybody in the outfield. So you have this weird look of people, and then nobody, and it's just the far wall. So there is that visual sightline and appearance that, while it might be full, because there are a ton of people that can be packed into those stands and onto the floor right in front of it, if you flip that camera the other way and shoot towards center field, there might not be so many people there.
And I guess the other side of that coin, someone would say, devil's advocate, if you will, they build a stage out there.
Right.
That would be the stage. Center field would be the stage, the entrance, all that stuff. So they would make it. The only thing I would be concerned with is if they can't block the Green Monster, because those seats are probably the best seats in the house for something like that.
Yeah, right. Or you build the set against the Green Monster and incorporate it somehow, which would be
That's
really
usually
cool.
what they do for concerts
Right.
in that general area, is out in that center field Green Monster area.
Yeah, so it'll be interesting. Again, I think NXT would be a good event, like a good event to have there. Do TakeOver, see if TakeOver takes off, and then you can kind of upgrade and reevaluate from there.
Wow. I think they try to do. I would say try to do one at the Garden first.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Just start small. That's what I feel that way. I don't want to say start small, because the Garden's a 20,000 seater for wrestling, but do a TakeOver there. Let's start at least there.
Right.
Because you're not messing with any weather conditions. You're not messing with Red Sox baseball, any of that stuff. That's just, I don't know. That's me. But again, usually they don't do takeovers unless there's something else happening that weekend. They'll build it around the Royal Rumble or Survivor Series or SummerSlam or WrestleMania. So just to do a takeover, that's what kind of confused me when they said, oh, well, maybe we'll do a takeover at Fenway. I'm like, but you're not doing anything else. And what would that takeover then be?
Because
or
you would need
do they have an
Survivor
idea
Series
down the line of they're going to start doing NXT as a whole separate entity and not even traveling with the rest of the company?
Yeah, I think that might not necessarily be a great idea, because while NXT is very fun and very popular, a lot of people don't watch it, right? If 10 people say they watch it, maybe 6 actually do. And, you look at that, and those ticket numbers might not translate right away. But if it's packaged into a Royal Rumble weekend, a Survivor Series weekend, a SummerSlam weekend, a WrestleMania weekend,
something where you have wrestling fans descending on the city already, and hey, this is a cool thing to do as well.
Yeah, hey, let's make a weekend of it. Type of thing. I don't think necessarily, especially to sell out something like the like Fenway Park, I don't think NXT TakeOver could do that on its own.
Right. All right, so I think we covered that. We got SummerSlam up next month. We got a few weeks off, actually. We're not jumping on in 2 weeks, so we got a few weeks till SummerSlam. We got to build to the big show. I feel we're going to have good things on the horizon, so absolutely follow myself, follow Liam on Twitter, at Mike Wendt, at Liam NAI, and as always, we are right here for you, wrestling fans. That wrestling show on Nesson. Thanks for tuning in.